Hello, my name is Jessica. Thank you for joining me. So today we're going to work on a bit of progressive sequencing. Hopefully we're working up to more of a Vinyasa type of practice. So please make sure you've got 2 blocks and a blanket, and you can start by either elevating your pelvis on one of your blocks or on your blanket as I'm seated now. And the first thing that you're going to do once you find your seat is allow your gaze to either soften down towards the floor or the eyes to close completely. And you're just going to check in, notice how your body's doing. Notice any areas of freedom or any areas of maybe constriction or tightness, soreness, exuberance, you name it. You're just going to check in, see how you're doing. And while you're there, notice where the breath is in your body. Is it in the nose, the throat, the chest, the ribs, or the abdomen? And you'll just start to consciously deepen your breath, taking a few audible exhales out of your mouth, allowing any tension to soften from the shoulders, from the neck, and from the eyes. Okay, you can keep the gaze inward or slowly open the eyes. You'll take your right hand and swim it back behind you to grab or touch your left hip. The left hand will then come back behind you. You might hold your right wrist, you might hold your right elbow, you might hold the upper part of the forearm, but you're going to lightly pull the right hand down and lightly tip your left ear towards the left little buddy. And then pause and breathe. Notice what it feels like to turn your chin down towards your left armpit, down towards the left leg, or maybe even spin the chin forward and up. Maybe you draw the head back to that lateral side position and wiggle the right elbow, so the hand that you're holding on to, wiggle it around. Just notice what that does to the right side of your neck. Notice what that does to your breath. And then wherever you are, you'll come to stillness in that side bend. Gently release your left hand. Use the left hand on the left side of your face. Push your head back to center. Release the left hand and then release the right hand. And then just notice what you notice between the sides. And we'll go ahead and go to the other side. So left hand lifts, slides back behind you, palm probably faces away. You might hold on to your left wrist. You might hold on to the forearm. You might hold on to the elbow. Still sit super tall and then start to tip your head up and right ear over to the right. And you might stay there gently pulling down with the right hand. Maybe you draw your chin towards your right armpit. Maybe you spin the chin forward and up. And you're just paying attention to what's happening on the left side of your neck. Oh, buddy man. And then maybe you come to a neutral position in that side bend. And again, wiggle your left elbow forward and back. Paying attention to how this might be translating into the shoulders, into the neck. Maybe you might feel this elsewhere, even down to the wrist if it radiates that way. Okay, and then let's go ahead and come to a still neutral spot. Release the right hand, draw the right hand to the side of your face. Press your head up. Once the head is vertical, release the right hand, release the left. And then from here, hands can hold on to the fronts of your kneecaps, and you'll inhale, pull your heart forward through the gates of the arms, maybe look up. And then exhale, chin comes to chest, round back and through your sacrum. And you'll just do 2 to 3 more of those little seated cats and cows. And again, you're just noticing how the breath is moving through the body. Notice how the body is moving at this point in time. Awesome sauce. After your next exhalation, you'll gently come to a still neutral spot. Head stacked on shoulders, shoulders stacked on hips. Inhale, open both arms out wide. And as you exhale, give yourself a hug. Left arm underneath, right arm on top. From there, lift the elbows in line with the tops of the shoulders. And you might either bring the backs of the hands to touch or the palms to touch. From here, press the elbows forward. And inhale, start to lift the elbows as you look towards your feet. And exhale, hug the elbows down as you lift the gaze up. And we've got about 3 more of those. Inhale, elbows forward, gaze down. And exhale, elbows down, gaze up. And you're just noticing how the upper trapezius, maybe even the rhomboids are working here. Last set. Nice work. Next in breath, go ahead and open the arms out. And as you exhale, switch sides. So right arm underneath, left arm on top, happy hug. Lift the elbows in line with the tops of your shoulders, and perhaps you stay there, sliding the elbows towards each other. Maybe you bring the backs of the palms to touch, or maybe you bring the fronts of the palms to touch. And we'll just do 4 more of those little shoulder flossings here. So press the elbows forward, inhale, gaze down, lift up through the fingers. And exhale, draw the elbows down, look up potentially to the fingertips. And you've got 3 more sets on your own. And you're working to see how effortless you can make this. So yeah, there's a lot of forward motion through the elbows, through the forearms, but can you let the neck be soft? Can you let the eyeballs and the mouth and the face be soft? Can you let the breath be steady and smooth and easy? Awesome sauce. Here's our last set. Nice work. Next in breath, open both arms out. And as you exhale, lower the arms down towards the floor. Now just a gentle twist before we move on. So your left hand will cross towards the right knee. You might just drop in the middle of your feet, and that's totally fine. And then the right hand will come behind you. Inhale, lift up through your spine. As you exhale, draw the belly back on the right side. And then notice that allows the left ribs to start to spiral towards the right. And you've just got 3 breaths here. So big inhale, lengthen through the vertebra. Big exhale, belly in on the right side. Wrap the left ribs to the right. Last time, big breath in. And big breath out. Nice work. Inhale, come back through center. Take a moment to pause and allow the viscera to catch up with you. Now go ahead and try that on the other side. So maybe right hand just in the middle of the body, maybe towards the left knee. In either case, inhale, straighten up through the spine, lengthen up, and then exhale, draw the belly back on the left side as you start to wrap the right ribs towards the left. And you've got 2 more steady breaths like that. Soften your back shoulder away from your ears. Notice if you're trying to use the arms to force the twist, or if you can allow the abdomen to deepen the twist. Nice one. All right, go ahead and inhale and come back through center. Last little thing before we move on. So go ahead and reach both arms up and overhead. And then I want you to reach up through both arms like you're trying to lift up a balloon towards, I don't know, the atmosphere. Reach up so much through your left hand that you have no other choice but to grab your left hand and lift a little higher with your right. From here, bend the left elbow, grab the left elbow with your right hand, press the left elbow to the left, hug it in towards the right. And you might just stay here happy as a clam. You might take a little side bend towards the right. You might stay vertical and release the right hand and swing it back behind you to clasp the fingertips. But wherever you are, you're just noticing if you can keep the breath calm, if you can keep the breath steady. What indicates whether or not we've progressed in our practice is literally the stability of the breath, the calmness of the breath, so that all life circumstances that happen, you don't sort of get taken for a ride. Okay, if you're clasping hands, gently release the right arm first, reach up through the left arm, and then reach up through the right. And again, lift that ball of joy, of hope, up to the universe, up to the sky. Grab your right wrist, lift the right arm a little higher, and then bend the right elbow. Grab the right elbow with your left hand. Press the right elbow to the right as you draw it in towards the left. And then check in with those front ribs, draw them in and back. You might stay here. You might take a little side bend towards the left to stretch out the right side body. You might keep the spine vertical and release the left arm up. Turn the thumb to the floor and swing the arm back behind you to clasp the fingers. And you're just pausing and you're breathing. You're noticing where you can soften, where you can relinquish just a little bit more pressure, engagement, activation that's not needed right here, right now. We're ideally striving to figure out how to be the most efficient, effective versions of ourselves, the best versions of ourselves, because we let go of all the stuff that isn't serving us, that isn't us. So if both hands are clasped, gently release the left hand to the floor, reach up through the right, little baby port de bras out to the right and to the left. Before we go on to hands and knees, just take a few little circles, flamenco twirls with your wrists. Be sure to go both directions. Once you feel content with that, we'll go ahead and come to the top of our space. Now I encourage you to bring both of your blocks and bring them towards the top of your space. You might start with them on their highest setting and then lower down if need be. Also, highly encourage you to bring that blanket now and plant it underneath your knees. And from here, you'll come on to hands and knees. Knees are about hip distance apart, hands are shoulder distance apart and directly underneath your shoulders. Tuck both sets of toes under and just pause there. Start to press your pelvis back just a little bit towards your feet so you can start to feel the soles of the feet arch. And this will just be one shape that we'll notice. Next in breath, go ahead and come forward, keep the toes tucked. Bring the back of your left palm to the floor so the left fingers are pointed towards the left knee. And then you'll again press back and notice that with the hand in this position, oh, you're probably not going to get very far. And you're going to pause and you're going to breathe. You might keep your left elbow straight. You might bend your left elbow a little bit like a pretty prancing pony. And just pay attention to what's happening on that left forearm, left wrist. Awesome sauce. Bring the left hand back to the floor. Now spin the left thumb all the way to the left until the fingers once again point back towards the left knee. Now you might want to walk the left hand closer to the knee or keep it as it is, but I encourage you to keep it shoulder distance apart. And then you'll start to press your pelvis back towards your feet to notice if the pelvis gets closer to the feet this time. Again, left elbow might stay straight. You might bend the left elbow and notice how that changes the sensation across the left wrist, left palm, left forearm. And then gently inhale, come forward, bring the left hand back to neutral. And we'll try all that with the right side. So back of right hand comes to the floor, palm faces up. Shift the weight back, taking a breath in, noticing what's happening on the inner and the outer edge of that right wrist. And maybe bend the right elbow like a pretty prancing pony. Notice what that does to the right wrist. Go ahead and come back forward, both hands on the floor. Spin the right thumb all the way to the right, so counterclockwise. Maybe walk the hand back, shift your weight back. Notice how that feels on the back of the wrist as you shift back. Maybe you bend the elbow and notice how it changes perhaps more to the palm than the wrist. And then you'll gently take another breath here. Shift your weight forward, coming into hands and knees once again. And I want you to push down into the tips of the fingers, press into the knuckle pads, and then notice if you need to walk your knees back or if you need to walk your hands forward so that you've got that alignment with shoulders over hips or shoulders over knees, hips over, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. From here, slide your left leg back, tuck the toes under, and squeeze all the muscles around that left leg. Lengthen your tailbone, buttocks flush back, hug the front two hip bones together, and then inhale, float your left leg parallel to the floor. You might stay here happy as a clam. You might shift more weight over to the left hand, start to crawl your right hand forward, and lift your right hand up for bird dog. Keep lengthening the inner left thigh up. Keep reaching the right hand forward and drawing your front ribs in and back as you lengthen your tailbone down. Take one more breath in here. And on your next exhale, lower the right hand, lower the left knee, and we'll go ahead and switch sides. So hands are underneath shoulders, knees are underneath hips. Claw that mat, send the right foot back, tuck both toes under, squeeze all the muscles around that right leg, lengthen your buttocks, flush back, and then hug those front two hip bones together. Engage the core as you lift that right leg, toes point down, inner right thigh lifts. And you might stay there. You might transfer more weight into the right hand as you crawl your left hand forward. Maybe lift the left arm parallel to the floor, flexing through that back foot, lengthening through the tailbone, reaching through the front hand as you hug the front ribs back. You've got 2 more breath cycles here. Keep lifting through inner right thigh, hugging outer right hip down. And on your next exhale, lower that left hand down, lower the right hand down. And happy days, you're going to curl and round through your spine. Very happy Halloween cat. And inhale, arch through the spine. Very happy California cow. And you've got 3 more cycles on your own. Noticing how the in-breath brings you into that cow shape pose, and the exhale draws you into that cat shape pose. And you're just moving with your breath. The more that we can move with the breath, we find a sense of groundedness and stability within this moment where we start to remind ourselves that we have the capacity and the potential to handle whatever happens in life. Don't need to control or manipulate anything. So with that being said, notice what organic movement feels good to you. How does the body want to sway? Maybe it's some barrel rolls with the ribs and the hips. Maybe you just look over one shoulder and say hello to your tuchus. And maybe you go the other way and say hello to the tuchus. But you're just moving in whatever way feels best to you. And you've got about 3 more breath cycles to do what your body wants you to do. And when you feel complete, you're going to make your way to your first downward facing dog of our practice. So I'm going to make my way there now. If you're still doing stuff, you can pause the video and catch up at any point in time. Once we make our way back to downward facing dog though, we're going to pause here. I encourage you to very gently bend just your left knee. Notice what that does to the back of the right calf. And then you'll switch sides, bending just the right knee, noticing what that does to the back of the left calf. And you've got about 2 to 3 more breath cycles, slowly pedaling through the feet. Noticing if you can keep the upper armpits lifted, so not collapsing in the shoulder girdle. And we're just letting yourselves have this little embodied moment. And then once you feel balance between the sides, you're going to go ahead and come to a still neutral spot. Push down through the index finger, bend the knees as much as you need to. Lift up through your happy hips, lift up through the happy inner armpits, send the inner thighs back, reach the heels back towards the floor. And see if you can take a breath in here, finding length between your ribs and your waist and your hips. Awesome sauce. Let's go ahead and add on. So exhale, bend the knees at the end of the exhalation step or float feet towards your hands. Once you get to the top of your mat, you might separate your feet hip distance apart. Grab opposite elbow and just take a moment to sway and dangle or just be still. And again, you'll just notice what it feels like if you are slowly swaying, slowly bending one knee and then the other. How does that feel in your hamstring? How does that connect into the low back? And if you're just being still, notice how you can find a sense of groundedness through the feet, through the legs, that allows the spine to just sort of drip forward. All right, go ahead and come to stillness if you're in movement. Release your hands down to the floor. Slide your hands up the shin. Lift the spine parallel to the floor as though you wanted to make a flat table to serve tea on your sacrum. Slide the shoulders away from the ears. Reach out through the center of your skull. And on your next exhale, you're going to fold all the way back in. Forward fold. Nice job. We're going to add on. Keep your fingers on the floor if you can, or blocks. Bend your knees to about a 90-degree angle. From here, scoop the belly away from the thighs. Draw your hands to heart center. Lift your spine to vertical. So now we're in Utkatasana. Now draw the shoulders down the back, the harmless, and you might stay here. You might release hands alongside your hips or swing your arms forward and up. And you've got 3 more breath cycles. See how low you can sit in your legs. Push down through the big toes, spread wide through the pinky toes, and notice how that turns on the outer hips. Take 1 more breath here. Lengthen up through the pinky fingers, soften down through the tailbone. Next, exhale, engage the belly, and then inhale, push through the legs, stand up, reach up, look up, and exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, we're gonna add on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, cactus the arms, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Nice job. Hands to blocks. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your right leg long and back. With that left leg coming forward, you might lower the blocks down a bit and then step your right block hand off to the right just a bit. From here, inhale, push down through the feet, scoop up to the belly. Exhale, draw the belly in on the left side, start to rotate your chest towards the left. Inhale, left arm extend up towards the sky, revolve low lunge, and then exhale, wrap left arm underneath you, touch your right side body wherever you can, and round through your spine. And then we'll do 4 more of those. So inhale, open up, reach back. Exhale, push down, round in, touch under. 2 more. Inhale, open up. Exhale, round in. Inhale, open up. Exhale, round in. Last one. Inhale, open up. And exhale, round in. Nice job. Inhale, open up one more time. Pause here. Lengthen back through that back foot. Push down into the front foot. Scoop the belly on the left and see if you can maybe gaze towards your top hand. As you exhale, lower the left hand to the floor. Step the left foot back. Fallen Asana, plank pose. Push down through the hands. Push wide through the pinkies. Hug the heels of the hands back. Hug the toes forward. Scoop the lower belly. You got one more breath here. Let's exhale, lower all the way down through Chaturanga Dandasana. From here, extend the tops of the feet to the floor. If you've got that blanket, you might need to move it or it might be okay. Walk your hands back, pull your hands back, pull your heart forward, lengthen tailbone back, reach toes back, press pinky toes down, baby cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, lower all the way down. Tuck the toes under. Maybe you keep the knees on the floor, maybe you don't, but you'll come up for plank or modified plank. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. And we've just got 3 nice steady breaths here. Seeing how the body is working, how the mind is working. Can you stay connected and present to what's happening here and now? Take one more breath cycle here, lifting up through the armpits. And as you exhale, take your right foot between your hands. So we're coming back to a low lunge on the opposite side. Hands might need to come back to those blocks if you use them on the first side, or maybe hands are on the floor. But either case, left hand, left block goes over to the left, right hand comes to the right knee. Inhale, find length from your tail down to your left foot, forward through your crown. Exhale, push down through left hand, scoop belly on the right side, and start to revolve your chest towards the right. As you inhale, look right arm lifts up towards the sky, squeeze your left butt cheek, and exhale, wrap the right arm underneath, touch the left rib wherever they touch, and inhale, open out. Awesome, Sasha, you got 4 more of those. Exhale, round in. Inhale, push down, lift up through top arm. Exhale, push down, round in through spine. 2 more. Last one. And exhale. This last one will grow hold. So just take a momentary pause, pushing through the right, or rather left hand, right foot, and spiraling heart forward and wrapping it up, maybe looking at gaze. Exhale, lowers that right hand to floor or blocks. Highly encourage the use of blocks. Highest setting best. Take a big breath in, take a big breath out. Step to the top of your space, forward fold. From here, inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, and then exhale, fold all the way in, Uttanasana. Keep the fingertips on the floor, bend the knees, inhale, sit low, chair, pose. Hands either come to heart center, or maybe the arms reach up and overhead. You choose what works best for you, but you got 3 breaths, and you're gonna see if you can continue to sit low through the hips, if you can spread wide through the soles of the feet, reach up through the pinky fingers, draw those front ribs in and back. Next in-breath, stand up, reach up, look up, and exhale, hands through heart center. Awesome sauce. Moving on. Inhale, circle, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms, hinge with the hips, forward fold, hands come to blocks. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms if they're not. Step your left foot long and back. Spin your left foot down through Virabhadrasana 2, and then inhale, windmill the arms up for Warrior 2. Awesome sauce. So once we're here at Warrior 2, you want to push down through both feet, hug in through both feet, lengthen out through both arms, and soften through those shoulders. Turning palms up often helps with that. So keeping the depth in your legs, inhale, reach out through your left arm. Right forearm might rest on the top of right thigh. The hand might come to the inside edge of the foot on the block. Then swim your left arm forward, and we're going to take extended side angle. Keep pressing through your back heel, pushing through your front heel, hugging those points together. And ideally, we want to make sure that our legs are working. So we're not just trying to go into our flexibility here, which is pretty awesome when we can touch the floor, but can we keep our legs active? Awesome sauce. When you're ready, gaze comes back to the floor, hands come back to the block, step the right block to the outside edge of the right foot, pivot to the ball of your back foot, release hands down to the floor, step right foot back, Fallenkasana, plank pose, pause. Take a moment to breathe as you lift the low belly, lengthen the tailbone back. Next exhalation, shift your weight forward, lower all the way down through Chaturanga Dandasana. When you touch, slide the hands back, pull the heart forward, come into a baby cobra as you inhale. And then as you exhale, lower all the way back down. Tuck both sets of toes under. And when you're ready, lift ears in line with tops of shoulders, either come up through modified plank or plank. And exhale, hips high, downward facing dog. 3 steady breaths. And you're just gonna notice how much you noticed. Seeing if you can re-establish your connection to a calm, steady, and even breath. Nice work. Inhale, gaze to your hands. Exhale, step your left foot between your hands. Now you might bring those hands back to that block once again. Spin your right foot to the floor for Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. And then when you're ready, spin and come up for Warrior 2. Now just as we did on the first side, notice if this orientation works for you. You might need to push out more through the inner left thigh and hug back through the outer left hip. Palms can face up as you reach out through both arms. And we'll just pause. We'll see if we can find depth in our leg and activate the back right thigh. When you're ready, inhale, reach out through that left arm. Maybe left forearm comes to touch left thigh. Maybe left hand comes to the inside edge of left foot. Onto block or floor, swim your right hand forward. And then you're gonna push down through both feet, hug that outer left hip back and see if you can rotate chest towards the right by hugging low belly in. Nice work. You got 2 more breath cycles here. At the end of your next exhalation, gaze comes down to the floor, right hand comes to right block, left hand comes to left block, pivot to the ball of right foot. And then from here, we're gonna have to step forward. So big exhale, whew. Step to the top of your space. Once you get there, make sure your feet are hip distance apart. And then we'll inhale, halfway lift Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, fold in Uttanasana. Fingertips stay on the floor. Inhale, bend the knees, sit down low. Utkatasana, chair pose, arms up and overhead if you like. Take a big breath in here. Sit a little lower as you exhale. Next in-breath, stand up, reach up, look up. And exhale, hands through heart center, Samasthiti. Adding on. Inhale, circle, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms, hinge at the hips. Uttanasana, forward fold, hands on blocks. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees. See if you need to walk your blocks forward just a bit, so hands are now underneath your shoulders. And then shift your weight onto the left leg to lift your right leg parallel-ish to the floor. So now we're in that Warrior 3 position. We'll take a moment to pause here. See if you can draw that outer right hip to the floor, lift up through that inner right thigh, and then start to walk your blocks back a little bit closer to your right foot. Now this is going to be a fun little game. You're going to reach back through the right toes, walk the blocks back, lower the right foot to the floor to come into pyramid pose. Happy days, look, we did it. And from here, the hands might still need to come back, so hands are directly underneath shoulders. From here, isometrically pull the hands back, push down into the pinky toe edge of the back foot, push down into the big toe mound of the front foot as the top of your left shin comes forward. And then you might notice that you can walk the block on the right towards the inside edge of your left foot. Draw your left hand to your left hip. Lengthen your tailbone back, reach your crown forward, and as you exhale, draw that belly in on the left side. Start to rotate your happy face towards the left, maybe stacking left shoulder on top of right. You might reach back through left arm and swing it out and up for revolved Trikonasana, triangle pose. Take a big breath in and take a big breath out. Stabilize that outer right hip as you draw the shoulder blades onto the back and the heart reaches left and then forward. And on your next exhale, hand swims back. It comes to your bum, it swings down to your right. Shift your weight forward, bend the front knee, plant the palms, step back, downward facing dog. And from down dog, come forward into Fallenkasana plank pose. Option to stay here in plank for 3 breath cycles, or option to cycle through an up dog or cobra. You choose what works best for you. And then when we're ready, we'll all meet back in downward facing dog. Nice work. And again, you're just noticing what you notice. How is the breath? How is the body? How are you? Nice job. Okay, inhale, gaze to your hands. As you exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Happy days. Highly encourage you to put your hands on the blocks. Highest setting, walk the blocks forward. Lift the back leg parallel-ish to the floor. Flex through the back foot. Turn your legs so your toes and your left knee point towards the floor. Lengthen back through your tailbone. Reach forward through your crown and maybe bend that right knee as much as you need to find parallelness from your torso all the way through that back leg. Great. Now you're going to start to walk your blocks back towards your right foot. You're going to reach your left toes down to the floor, slightly wide of your right foot, and then start to walk the blocks back even more until you find pyramid pose. So both legs are straight. Left pinky toe presses into the floor. Tailbone reaching back. Sternum and crown reach forward. Slight bend in front knee if you're hypermobile, and draw the top of your right shin forward. Push down into your right shin bone. Nice job. Or push down into your right big toe. Then you might walk that left hand block into the right foot. Bring your right hand to the back of your pelvis. See if you can keep your pelvis stable. We got to serve a tea or cup of tea there. And then you'll inhale isometrically, draw that back, reach your heart forward. As you exhale, right low belly draws in. Push down to the left hand, rotate, wrap those left ribs under to the right. And then maybe you might find that you can stack your right shoulder on top of your left. You might find that you can swim your right arm back and then up. And then continue to notice how you can lift that outer left hip, reach the heart forward into the right, and find your balance. Maybe gaze goes up. And this is a really hard pose. So if you're having a little bit of struggle, you're not alone. Got one more breath cycle. Here, slight bend in front knee if you're hypermobile. And then when you're ready, exhale, right hand swims back to your left hip, comes down to the floor, hands come to blocks, highest setting, most encouraged. Bend the front knee, bend the back knee, step to the top of your space, forward fold, Uttanasana. And then our favorite one, inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, buttocks blossom back, heart blossoms forward. And exhale, fold in fingertips on the floor. Inhale, bend the knees, sit your butt low, Utkatasana. Chair pose. Take 2 breath cycles here, pushing wide through the feet, hugging those outer hips in, lengthening up through the fingers. Next in-breath, stand up, reach up, look up, yay. And exhale, hands through heart center. All right, keep going. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms, hinge at the hips, forward fold, hands on blocks. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees. Now this time, you're gonna have to walk your blocks forward just a little bit. Shift the weight into the right leg, float your left leg parallel-ish to the floor, flexing through the foot just as we did before. Now walk your right block over to the right a little bit and forward. You're gonna bring your left hand to your left hip, bend your right knee, so that's the bottom leg. Start to stack your left hip, that's the top hip, on top of the bottom hip, that's the right hip. Stack the left shoulder on top, yep. And then maybe you'll stay here in half moon. Inner left thigh lifts a lot, left heel flexes back, and yeah, balance is an issue. So you might extend back through the left hand, reach the left hand up, draw the shoulder blades together, heart opens to the left. Now as we're ready to come out, left hand is going to come out of the equation first, so it's going to come down to your left hip, turn your gaze to the floor, listen closely. Bend your bottom knee, your right knee, slide the right block back, reach the left toes back, and we're gonna come into extended side angle, probably a shorter one than we did before, hand outside the front leg. Awesome sauce. Now you might choose to stay here like just a great, awesome sauce here. You might choose to walk that block back and start to straighten your front leg, and then lift your right side of your torso so it's parallel-ish to the floor. Now from here, push down onto the pinky toe edge of your back foot. Make sure that front knee is engaged and the top of your right shin bone's pointing towards the top of your space. Then stack the left shoulder on top of the right, and maybe lengthen back through that left arm and extend it up for Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose. When you're ready to come out, that left hand will swim back to your left butt cheek. You're going to roll your chest towards the floor, pivot to the ball of your back foot, hands come back to blocks and back to floor, step back, downward facing dog. You might choose to hang out here for 5 breath cycles. You might shift your weight forward into fallen asana, planky pose. You might hang out there for the last 3 breath cycles, or you might cycle through an up dog or cobra of your choice, but you're choosing based upon what feels stabilizing for you. What you do is not what I do, and what I do is maybe not what you want to do. We're doing what works best for us, because that's all we really can do in any given situation. It's like that whole little airplane mask thing. Once we put our own mask on, we can better serve and help others. And that's all our practice is helping us do. So if you're not down dog, please make your way there. And then we're going to go ahead and switch to the other side. So inhale, gaze to your hands. Exhale, that left leg comes forward between your hands. Great. Once you're there, hands come to blocks on highest setting. You're going to walk your blocks forward, shift your weight forward, lift that right leg parallel-ish to the floor, flex through that right leg a lot, bend the left knee as much as you need to, lengthen tailbone, flesh buttocks, flesh back. Great. Take the left block slightly forward and to the left. Draw your right hand to your right hip. Bend that left knee as much as you need to. From here, you'll start to open and stack your right hip on top of your left, and maybe open and stack your right shoulder on top of your left. And you might hang out there happy as a clam. You might reach back through the right arm. You might swim the right arm up to the sky. Hug the shoulder blades onto the back. Heart is open as you lean back. Nice work. Keep drawing outer left hip back. Keep pressing the left big toe now. When we're ready to come out, right hand comes back to right hip. Turn your gaze, just your gaze to the floor. Bend your left knee, bottom knee. Start to walk the left block back. Start to reach the right toes back for the floor. And then you'll find yourself an extended side angle with your left hand outside of the left foot. Don't know where I was going with that. And then you'll start to maybe stay there, or maybe you'll walk your left block back, coming into the Vinyasa. Again, I want you to press from your left sit bone to your left big toe. Keep pulling your left kneecap up. Press from right outer hip down to right pinky toe. See if you can keep your left side body long and parallel to the floor. Scoop the belly on the right side. Rotate your chest towards the right. Maybe right hand swims back towards the hip and up towards the sky. And the shoulder blades come onto the back, and the heart can open to the right as the head comes up to the top hand. Awesome sauce. When you're ready to come out, right hand swims back to your right bum. You roll your chest towards the floor. You bend the front knee. You reach forward for the block. You shift your weight forward. You step your weight forward. Hooray! Forward, forward. I got really excited by that. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, fold all the way in, Uttanasana, forward fold. Keep the fingertips on the floor, bend the knees. Inhale, sit, Utkatasana, chair pose. And you'll pause as you breathe. Sit as low as you can. Press through those feet. Hug the armpits in by spreading the soles of the feet wide. Lengthen up through the fingers, soften down through the tail. Next in-breath, stand up, reach up, look up, ta-da! And then exhale, hands to heart center. I'm really having fun with myself here. You're having fun too. Okay. Last little thing. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Nice job. Fingers on, or rather hands onto blocks. Inhale, halfway lift. Now for this one, as you exhale, I want you to bend your knees and start to walk your feet back. And then maybe you can walk your hands forward, but we're going to walk our feet back. Now make sure shoulders are over wrists. Feet are underneath your hips. Transfer all of the weight into your left leg. Float your right leg parallel-ish to the floor. Lengthen back through your tailbone. Hug your front 2 hip bones together and see if you can lift your head and heart so it's parallel to the floor. To make that happen, you might need to bend your left leg. Now, you might stay here happy as a clam. You might start to crawl your left hand forward and lift it parallel to the floor. So now we're back into that bird dog-ish shape we started in. Awesome sauce. Option to stay there or just bend the left elbow and draw the left hand to the left shoulder. You might walk the right block more to the left. Keep reaching back through your right heel. Reach your crown forward. And as you exhale, left low belly draws in and up. And maybe the left shoulder stacks towards the right.
Maybe you stay there, maybe you reach the left arm back, maybe you float the left arm up, and we're suddenly in revolved half moon, Pavrika, Ardha Chandrasana. Awesome sauce. Left hand swims back to the butt. It comes down to the leg, and this time you're just going to step that right foot to meet its mate, and then hang forward. You might say hello back. That was a lot. Hello, breath. That was a lot. See how you're doing. And then we'll go ahead and try it on the other side. So inhale, halfway lift, spine parallel to the floor. As you exhale, you might bend the knees so the spine really is parallel to the floor. Shift the weight to the right leg. Flex through the left foot, lift the left leg parallel-ish to the floor. Hug that outer left hip down, inner left thigh up, tailbone lengthens back, front ribs pull back, and maybe you can crawl your right hand forward, right palm faces in if you have space. You might happily stay there in this weird bird dog position. You might draw your right hand to your right hip, push down into your right big toe, reach back through your left big toe, crown forward, tailbone back, low belly and outer left hip lifts as you rotate to the right. So I start singing when things become hard. So then you'll reach back through your right arm, maybe reach your right arm up, shoulder blades onto back, lifting that outer hip, maybe gazing towards the right. When you're ready to come out, you'll draw your right hand back to your hip. You'll bring it down to the floor. This time you're going to step that left foot back, lower the hands to the floor, step back and downward facing dog. Your choice to cycle through an up dog or cobra or not. And then we're all going to meet in hands and knees and then meet in child's pose. So you make your way there or not as you wish to, but I'm going to hang out here for child pose for 3 breaths. You're welcome to join me if you'd like. Last breath cycle here. Great. When you're ready to come out, hands will come outside of the knees, push down through the floor, round up through the spine, and come up to sit. From here, you'll bring your legs in front of you to sit for Dandasana. Now, I encourage you to elevate your pelvis on a blanket, and it might just stay in that standard position that we started with. And then both legs in front of you. And then you're going to start by bending your right leg, hugging your right foot in line with your right hip. Left leg stays super long and strong, so you want to keep that leg super active. You might stay here. The right leg might cross over the outside edge of your left thigh. Great. From here, you're going to hug that right knee into your chest, wrap the left arm around that right thigh, right hand comes out to the right, maybe a little bit behind you. Inhale, lift up through your spine. As you exhale, right low belly pulls in. Left low belly goes in towards the inner right thigh, push down into your right big toe. Now this one isn't hard, but I feel like doing this in somebody's voice here, so it might just be one of those days. And then we'll just lift up, low belly in, low ribs, pull back on the right side in order to turn towards the left. And ideally, we're trying to do this without too much work happening in the arms. It's all the work happening in the abdomen. Next day, we'll go ahead and unwind and come back to center. Take your right knee, and as best as you can, stack that right knee over the left. So now we've got this Ardha Gomukhasana thing going on. If you need to, you might need to remove some buttocks flesh from underneath your left hip especially, but maybe also your right. And then you're lift as tall as you can. You might bring the hands in front of you like, I don't know, praying mantis or something. And then you'll pull your heart forward, hinging from the top of your sacrum. That's the big triangular bone at the base of your spine. And once you get to a certain point, maybe chest touching thighs, you might start to walk the hands forward, tuck that chin over the knee. And you'll just take 3 to 5 breaths. And if you're like, Jessica, yeah, that's not going to happen. Just sit as tall as you can and breathe wherever you're at, noticing where there's tension in the body, and as best as you can, inviting space, inviting ease, inviting a sense of effortlessness towards it. Awesome sauce. If you're in this Ardha Gomukhasana, Paschimottanasana thing, you're going to gently release your foot, walk your hands back towards your hips, push down through the floor, roll up through the spine, sit super tall and dandy. And then we're going to uncross this leg, being very mindful. So the right leg is going to come back in line with our right hip. Now, some of you will not wish to do this. You may not wish to do this. It just depends on how you're doing it. And I'm staying in the same configuration and just turning my body this way. So you're going to grab onto your right ankle, swing your right ankle back so your right knee is pointing forward. At this point, you might wish to elevate your pelvis on a blanket, and you can lift this up or roll it under as many times as you want. What we're paying attention to is what's happening in our front kneecap, what's happening in our hip. This might be the place where you're like, yep, I'm going to stay there. You might choose to walk your hands back, lift your tailbone up, slide your bum forward, and then maybe lower down onto your forearms. You can happily stay here, pushing down through forearms, hugging the shoulder blades onto the back, lifting the heart, and happy as a clam, stay there. You might have the mobility or the desire to lay all the way back, and you might lay there and arms might come up and over your head for this Ardha Supta Virasana position. And again, we're paying attention to what's happening in the right knee. So if I lay all the way down behind knees, like, it's time to get up. And as long as the stretch is happening in the belly of the thigh, you're completely okay. And so you'll just pause there and you'll breathe there. Awesome stuff. So you got 2 more breaths where you're at. Continue to keep that left leg active as you're stretching through the right quadricep. If you're supine, so leaning all the way in the back, you're going to bring the hands alongside your hips. You'll tuck your chin to your chest, around through the spine a little bit to come onto your forearms and then press yourself up to sit. You might have to lift your buttocks to remove your buttocks and grab your right ankle, swing your right ankle in front to meet your left. And maybe you take some ankle circles here, maybe you don't. But you're just seeing how the body feels. And we're going to try all that on the other side. Okay, so bend your left knee, plant your left heel in line with your left pelvis, left sit bone. And you might stay here just as you are. You might cross the left leg over to the outside edge of your right thigh. Check in with that right foot, toes are active, they're pulling back towards your face, and hug that left knee towards your chest. Lift up through your spine, and maybe left hand comes to the left, maybe slightly back behind you. Every inhale, find as much verticality through your skull, through your ribs, through your vertebra as possible. Every exhale, you engage the left low belly to wrap the right ribs. So again, we're trying to do this without the work of our hands. They're just there to help deepen it, but we're not there to force anything. You're just pausing and you're breathing. You're finding length with the in-breath and twistiness with the exhale out breath. Yep, one more here. Great. Next in breath, come back through center. See if you can stack your left knee on top of your right knee. And then hands might come in front of you like little praying mantises. Keep that right foot active. Pull the hands back isometrically. Pull the heart forward. Feel like it's almost like an arch in your lower back. And then you'll start to hinge at your hips. Now, if your hammies are pretty tight after everything we just did, you'll probably find that that's probably not going to work, not going to happen, and that's okay. You stay where you are able to comfortably breathe. It's not important to try to twist your body into a pretzel shape if it kind of cuts off oxygen in the process. Not worth it. We're just trying to calm the mind and breathe, training ourselves moment by moment, shape by shape, pose by pose, to be able to handle all the fun stuff that happens in life as we are being humans living our lives. So you got another 3 breath cycles here. Notice where you can soften any unnecessary tension. And as you're ready to come out of this, we'll start to walk the hands towards your hips, push down through the hands, roll up through the spine, come up to a state of verticality. And carefully take that left foot and bring the left foot in line with your left hip once again. Now, from here, you're going to go ahead, and if you already noticed you want to elevate your pelvis on a blanket, you're just going to go ahead and grab your left ankle, swing your left ankle back, your left knee forward, and reposition your pelvis. Now, sometimes I find it helps if I put my thumb in the back of one of my calves and drag the flesh back and wide. It just feels a little bit better on my knees, so you might need to check on that for you. And the first thing you'll do is just sort of sit and see how the spine is and see how your quad and your knee are doing. If this is great, you stay there. You might choose to start to walk your forearms back, lift your pelvis up, slide your tailbone forward, and then maybe lower down to the forearms. If you're on the forearms, push down from the forearms, hug with the shoulder blades onto the back, lift this chest. It's like you're one of those flapper girls on the truck. You might stay there. You might make your way all the way down to your back, a supine position if that is both accessible and curious and available to you. And then we'll just take about 3 to 5 more breaths in this Ardha Supta Virasana. So Ardha half, Supta supine Virasana, hero's pose. And we're just pausing, breathing. Right leg is still really active. Pay attention to your left knee. Make sure it's not pulling too much on the kneecap. It's best, teachers say, all around the world, it's in the belly and the thigh. Okay. Very gently bring yourselves out of this shape. So you'll release your hands. Bring your hands alongside your hips, tuck your chin to your chest, and start to crawl yourself up. Once you get up, you might need to reposition your buttocks. Grab your left ankle, bring the left ankle in front of you, keeping that knee joint closed, and then extend the left leg long. Then you can take a moment to maybe roll your ankles or your wrists. All right, so last little thing before we go to Shavasana. I'll stay in this orientation. You can flip around if you want, but your hands are going to come back. Actually, I should switch just so you can see my head. We want to make sure that we don't have too much weight on our head. And I'm just going to keep this blanket here, but we do not need to do that. So hands will come down, forearms will come down. Push down into your elbows, lift your chest up again, harmless. And then I want you to pull back with your elbows isometrically. So they don't really go anywhere, but it lifts your armpits. And you might choose to stay here. You might start to army crawl your arms forward, lift the chest a little higher and start to come onto the back of your head. And ideally, there's very little weight on the crown of your head. Your legs are active, tailbone softening back, or rather softening down towards your feet. When you're ready to come out, lift the head, chin to chest, lower the spine to the floor. And if you're still on that blanket, you want to make sure it's underneath your spine. If you're not on the blanket, you're not missing much, so don't worry about it. Just lay down. And you're just pausing in your breathing. You're noticing the energy moving through the body. Noticing where the breath is most vibrant, active, alert, and alive. So after all of that, you might just stay here like, yep, I'm good, I am golden. You might find that there are a few last little things that you want to do, but before you investigate that, I encourage you to just settle here for a little bit. Fish pose is a very interesting heart opener, I feel like, because it is a big heart opener. It requires that we have total trust and faith, and that we kind of rest our noggin and we let it not be an active participant, but we also don't want too much weight. As a metaphor for life, maybe we shouldn't give so much weight, so much credit, so much credence to the thoughts that we have, and instead let our hearts lead the way. And our hearts can do that when there's support, and there's this underlying support that lifts and opens the heart so that it can live fully, it can live courageously and vibrantly. So as you settle in, if you've discovered or you're curious about something else being of interest to you, by all means, go ahead and do that. If you're happy as you are and you want to wind down, go ahead and make your way to your final resting pose. One of the benefits of this being a recorded class is if you want and or need more time, please take it for yourself. I will be here ready when you hit play. And once you've hit play, once you found yourself in that final resting pose, I encourage you to take the first few moments to just observe sensation as it continues to rise, and as it continues to fall. Let a sense of presence fill your mind and your mind-filled presence. Go ahead and stay here for a few more moments. And I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Slowly return your awareness. As you come back, just take a moment to check in. Notice what you notice. If there's any part of you that's longing to linger in this shape, by all means, please hang out here until you are ready to move forward with your day. When you are, you'll start to invite small, gentle movements into your physical form in whatever way feels best and nurturing to you. It might become bigger movement as you stretch and wiggle and yawn. And then you'll gently make your way to your right side, then pause in a semi-fetal position for a few breaths. Gently, you'll start to make your way up to a seated position. And I encourage you to take the opportunity to elevate your pelvis on a block, on a blanket. Move any flesh from underneath your sit bones. You got a firm purchase. Stack your shoulders over your hips, your ears over your shoulders, and then draw the upper palate, soft palate back. Soften the gaze, maybe close the eyes, soften the eyelids, soften the eyeballs. Soften the tension in the mouth, including the root of the throat, upper part of the mouth, the jaw, the neck. And you'll just take about 3 to 5 breaths here, noticing what you notice. How is the body now? How is the breath now?
For many of us, in many ways, our asana practice is that oxygen mask. It allows us to drop in, to check in, to feed ourselves first, tend to ourselves first before we attempt to do the work that we're called to do, the work that often has us serving, caring for others, feeding others. And as amazing as it is to be able to be of service to others, in order to really be of service to others, we must first be of service to self. So for taking that time today to be with you, to tend to you, to feed and breathe into you, I thank you. My body thanks you. Go ahead and, your body thanks you. Go ahead and draw your hands to heart center. Press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of the thumbs into the sternum. Lift the sternum to the thumbs. We'll complete today by a big round of breath, followed by one Om. Gently exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. The light within me, the breath, the caretaker within me honors and salutes the light, the breath, caretaker within you. Namaste. Well, thank you for joining me for today. You have a great rest of your day. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I look forward to being with you soon. Thank you.